friends and gamers, and welcome to the Lion's Den, home of the Panzer King. This is Jinx here, and talking to you about Japan. It is now turn number 14, January 1943. So, really still early days in regards to this board game. There's still a lot of life left to it, a lot of turns before the end of the game. I think it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns before the game would technically end, and then we have the alternative dice rolling, which will start happening in, I think, 3 turns. So things are winding down. Japan, as you know, has fallen. It fell down by a fluke, essentially. Last night, after 15 hours of gaming, I was burnt out and tired, and kind of persuaded myself, or told myself I could probably pull through another turn, and in the process, I completely had a brain fog and did not do anything to protect my homeland, which really sucked because I had $106 to spend that turn, and not a cent of it, not a red cent, showed up in Japan. I mean, I might have put 1 or 2 units there, but I pulled the same amount of units that went in there. I pulled off to go fight in Hong Kong, so it's really too bad. Anyways, Japan fell, and I covered that in a different video, and Japan just fell for the second time. It's the stumblings of a fighter that was down on his knees, and he just got body slammed to the ground again. So Japan is out of the game, which is really too bad. Japan was at its height when it lost. It had, it had Australian territory, it had all the Dutch East Indies, it had, it was even in Burma and pushing into British Malaya. It had a lot of stuff going on. It had a lot of pressure put everywhere on the map, and it squeezed Yunnan forces down to 1 territory there. And it was all going really, really well, and at the last turn, we did something really stupid, such as reinforcing these 2 territories completely needlessly. With these units here, they didn't need to go there. They could have gone in Tokyo, and that would have been sufficient to hold it out. There's nothing in range to attack here. Likewise, we could put this Philippine force and militia over there, and the fortified line started over there, and a few other odds and ends places on the map. With 10 militia to put on the map, we could have put 7 militia in the Japanese homeland, plus 7 infantry, and repositioned some aircraft to make it harder. But due to fatigue and oversight, we just completely ignored it. And also, I suppose in my fatigued brain, I saw that there was a fleet here sitting there, and was aware that they could hit me. It was one of those things that I was counting the same thing over and over and over again. So I think on some level I registered that, yeah, they could attack me. They're not going to do it, but they could attack me. And then next time my eyes would go by, I was like, no, they can't attack me. The thing is, this base, normally you can't attack from this base, but at some point the Allies sneakily upgraded that base, and I did not catch it. And 50% of the time I didn't catch it, and the other 50% when my eyes went over, I was like, yeah, okay, they can get, and then I would persuade myself out of it by later on doing other stuff. So Japan fell for the first time, and it fell for the second time, and now it's end game for them. And realistically, at this point, everything that you see here with a Japanese roundel just is off the map, just wiped off the map, just like that, because it's surrendering, and all their units disappear off the board. Not only that, I mean, they've lost 2 turns worth of income just now, so that's, they were pulling in. Last couple turns, they're pulling in about 70-ish IPP of income last couple turns, and both times they had to surrender that to the bank. Not to mention, there's like 15 light cruisers sitting here that could be placed on the board if they had had a chance to do so. And that would have been sufficient to push back the American fleet back to American waters if I had only protected my coastline. And that would have been all that I needed to do. So Japan has surrendered, but it was with a last-ditch effort with the Axis, sending the Italians specifically sending a Lend-Lease fighter for 2 turns, which was amazing. And then I think the Germans might have even, as well as the Soviets, sent some units in there as well, which was pretty fantastic stuff going on. So at the end of the day, they fell, and it is endgame now for Japan. At this point, I might as well go home almost, right? Because there's really nothing that Japan can do, and the Americans are going to have a very tenuous, strong hold, or not tenuous, but a rigid hold on Tokyo, preventing anything from occurring. So yes, that is fun. So my game here is done, and we have to leave it up to the Axis to collect a couple of victory points here and there, and perhaps we could pull in a nice second, but even so, that's a difficult one to pull in. As far as I can calculate, I think we have, including our victory cities, we would have, once Japan's out of the war, the Allies, the Axis have about 9 victory points. The Communists have, well, I think they have 12, if not more. No, they have more than that by now. They have 14 or 15, including their victory cities, and the Allies are going up at, I think, 13 or something like that. Now, those numbers have changed a little bit because, well, things have moved around, and I haven't kept up with it. Yeah, allies are probably at 17 actually, if memory serves. With well, maybe not. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but with the capture of Tokyo, the capture of Objective City, and that type of thing as well. So things are a little bit all over the place, and there's nothing much Japan can do. All these units and all these territories are just going to be taken off the map and are free to walk on by anybody. So that is a very interesting occurrence and a bit of a shame. It would have been nice to be a bit more participating in this. For me and my play group back at home when I was younger, we had this rule that if your capital was left open where somebody could attack it, and with better than 75% odds of winning that fight, then you'd simply tell them checkmate. I got you here. They would owe you a case of beer, and we would recorrect for that. With an adjustment of placing some units here, there, and everywhere at the least. If somebody went all out with Navy, then we might consider saying 10 IPPs of that you could put into defense of something or other, just to even the odds a little bit. Because our theory was there's a fog of war element on the battlefield, and the Americans would never have gone full out straight into Japanese territory just like that. They would have been a little bit more cautious when it comes down to it, right? The Americans would not have gone into that. Likewise, they wouldn't have just suddenly airdropped units into Berlin or Moscow. It just wouldn't have worked. So that's just the way we play it, and I don't know, I quite like that system. It's one of those things that the game can actually progress a little bit longer, and when people invest this much time into this board game and at this beautiful table, when I invest this much time into coming here and getting time off work and having my wife take care of my 2 kids and that kind of thing, it would have been nice to have lost Japan more honorably with a slow slide and decline as the Americans kind of island hop their way across the Pacific, and in the meantime I would be fighting back instead of becoming a castrated nation at this point. That is it. That is all. So thank you all for watching, and thank you all for rooting for me and your support in the comments. I really do appreciate it. We are playing a game which I don't know if it's correct or not, but we are factoring endurance of the player into this as well. So it's not just we don't allow take backsies. It seems to be the case. So if you happen to lose the game just by this, then it's on you 100%. And that is too bad, but it's just the way this game is played, and we accept the rules of the table, right? We can't fight back with these things. So I appreciate your support and feedback, but don't give those other guys a hard time for not allowing a correction in this. It would have been fun. I would have loved it. I would have loved to be participating in this to a larger degree, but unfortunately, it just won't work. Thank you all once again, and this is likely going to be the last video for me, because I really won't have any impact on the game from this point onwards. So thank you all for watching and attending, and your comments and your feedback, and also your support as well. I appreciate it, and I appreciate that, as some of you have mentioned, that you're not judging me for this oversight, but that you still consider me a capable player. This may seem weird, but I'm a very verbal person. You know how they have love languages? For me, I'm all about words of affirmation. So they really mean a lot to me, and yeah, I really do appreciate it, guys. So thank you very much. Cheers.